Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I'm Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today?
Terrific.
T-I-double-G-R-ific or something?
T-I-double-G. Tigger.
Yeah, Tiggerific. Yeah, isn't that what he used to say?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
I was a Winnie the Pooh guy back in the day.
Oh, 100%. They got a new one with a little Christopher Robin action.
Mm-hmm.
Takes Winnie the Pooh into the the 100-acre forest, or no, he brings him into London or something like that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I did. I did see it.
I did not.
You did not? Oh, that's too
I
bad.
didn't. I should watch it though, right? Is it good? Would you recommend it?
I don't know.
It doesn't sound like it.
I mean, it's
not a strong recommendation.
It is what it is. Okay. It is what it is. Anyway, so we are here. We're back. It is Wednesday night because that's what we do. We come on to Facebook Wednesday nights, 10:30 ish. Podcast will be up live. Or no, not live. Will be up on Thursday on all your favorite platforms. Please check it out. Subscribe, share, comment. Let us know what you think. Get a hold of us. Now, on that note, Adam, I'm gonna ask you what your Twitter is so people can follow you. But I don't think I want anybody to know mine because I think I'm done on Twitter after all the overtakings of the past week.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. Why you feel that way? But my Twitter account is at AdamSchmidt44.
There you go. And I'm at Sicklit. So
you know what? Now is the time. Now is the time to follow Sick With It.
You're not going to know.
Got a strong opinion.
I do got strong opinions, but I'm not gonna act like all these other goofballs that hide behind a computer and type to try to get people fired for something silly that they see a 3-second clip of a video of a 5-minute conversation. Never mind. I'm not doing it.
We'll talk about it when we get to baseball. We're going to start, though. Well, first of all, we're going to start with our Nosebleed Sports Podcast, greatest nicknames of all time.
Is it over? It's official, right? It's official. Well, this bad boy is over. We got
2 hours left.
Okay.
2 hours left to vote, and it's close. It's close enough where if you're watching on Facebook right now, you can jump on and make a difference in this thing. It's the mailman. It is the finals. It is the mailman. Malone versus Larry Legend, Larry Joe Bird. And right now, Larry is up 55% to 45%. It's a difference of 2 votes. So if 2 people get on and vote for the mailman in the next 2 hours, we got a tie on this thing.
Holy cow. And Adam can't do ties, just to let you know. Adam cannot do ties. They don't work. He doesn't believe in them.
No, actually, I like ties in a lot of situations.
This is not one.
Because I like for everybody to be happy and get to win and all that good stuff. Not in this case.
Yeah, big. So you're big. Everybody gets a trophy guy.
No, not for kids. They gotta understand losing is part of life, and you gotta experience it plenty of times. For situations like this, normally I'd be okay with a tie. Like MVP voting, if James Harden and Giannis Antetokounmpo get the same amount of votes, I'm fine with co-MVPs.
You're cool with that. I got you. Yeah.
But in this case, I'm such a big Larry Bird fan. Not such
Larry's
a big Carl fan.
Larry's got to go, man. Larry's got to go. Listen, Karl Malone, the mailman, good. I mean, he's got to go on. He's got to win. I'm a Hick from French Lick voter. I've already put my 2 cents in.
Same.
So if you're on, go ahead, check it out. There's a poll on the Nosebleed Sports Podcast page on Facebook. Vote for the Hick from French Lick or Karl Malone. Winner wins the Nosebleed Sports Podcast Best NBA Nicknames of All Time poll. Which brings me to my next question for you, which is, what's our next poll going to be?
That's a good question. I started trying to think of some stuff. I don't know that I have any good enough ideas to really throw them out there yet. But we got to do one. We might take a couple weeks or something and really try to figure this thing out. We also want your feedback. If you're listening on any of the platforms or live on Facebook right now as we're recording live, drop us a line on Facebook. Comment on wherever you're
SoundCloud,
listening to. Exactly.
YouTube, what is it? Apple Podcast, iTunes, Spotify.
Jump on Twitter.
Twitter,
to
get
us.
on the tweet box, hit at Adam Schmidt 44. Don't tweet me. I don't even care about
it.
Twitter anymore. I'm done with it. I'm done with these
Call
people.
us on the telephone. Send us a telegram.
One of the few people in this world that still have a landline.
Write us a handwritten letter. Type one up on a typewriter. What else?
I think that's about it.
Write it in calligraphy if you'd like.
Yeah, you could probably stamp it with a wax stamp.
Fold it into an origami swan. And put it in a package and send it to us.
Cool. I'm down for that. If you do that, you'll get you'll get something.
You'll get something.
All right. So question. So we got a lot of things going on today. We have the NBA playoffs are obviously hot and heavy right now. This is the biggest thing going on. A ton of stories going on now. Damian Lillard, ice cold water running through his veins last night. We'll get into that. We got a lot. We've got a little triple play going on with Major League Baseball. It's gonna start
Might
getting
have
hard.
A quadruple here.
We may if I keep getting irritated and keep talking about this Twitter stuff. But we will 100% go through these three. We got some neat little facts on baseball. But before we get into any of those, I'd like to take a second and ask you, what do you think about the NFL draft coming up tomorrow?
Man, I am so excited. I have I've got my popcorn popped already. It's sitting on. It's not going to be any good by tomorrow because I already popped it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just going to sit there all day and night. But I said day and night. I don't want anybody to think I dropped a D bomb there.
That's right.
Anyway, so I'm so excited, man.
Who are the Bengals gonna take with their first pick? Man, there's a lot of quarterback talk out there.
The Reds need a point guard.
The Reds need a point guard.
You got a lot, yeah. I mean,
so here's the deal. So we obviously aren't going to talk about the NFL draft that much because it's not what we like to get into on this podcast. It's just not our thing. I kind of do like the draft personally. I kind of get into it. If I just got to put my 2 cents in, I'd love to see the Bengals trade away maybe a second and a fourth or something like that to Arizona to try to get that Josh Rosen kid because they're obviously going with Kyler Murray in the first. So why not pull yourself that way, get yourself a quarterback for your first-round pick, and Arizona could use a lineman as well as a quarterback. Otherwise, Kyler Murray's going to be running for his life the same way that Rosen did too. So anyway, okay, good for you.
You feel like Rosen is a better quarterback
than anybody else. I feel like he's better than any other quarterback in this draft.
Okay, and better obviously than Andy Dalton.
I don't know, but he's going to be a lot cheaper. He'd probably be. I would say he's going to be mediocre, just like Dalton. But he's going to be. He's getting paid $1.8 million a year right now, or something like that.
But you want to give up a second and a fourth for him?
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Oh.
It gives us more cap room. We can go after more free agents. Things start getting a little bit better. And if he's mediocre or better, as Andy was, I mean, Andy took us to 4 or 5 straight playoffs. So I'm okay with that. Let's get to the playoffs, see if we can do something with it. People have won the playoffs with worse quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's true.
Or won in the playoffs with worse quarterbacks. All right, I'm done talking about the NFL. Let's get into the NBA because that's what we want to talk about. That's what we love. That's our thing. Let's start off. We're just going to go through these series that are coming up. So we'll start in the East. The East is finished. The East is ready to go. We've got the first 2 victors were 2 sweeps. The Bucks swept the Pistons, and the Celtics swept the Pacers. Therefore, the Bucks and the Pacers are going to be the first.
Bucks and the Celtics, yeah.
Who did I say? Bucks and Pacers? I meant Bucks and Celtics.
Well, it's funny you said that because I was really surprised about the sweep. I'm not that surprised that the Celtics beat the Pacers, but I'm surprised by the sweep. I really, truly thought this could go 6 or maybe even 7 games. I thought the home teams would take care of business on their home floors. I went to Game 3 in Indy. It was back and forth. Now all these games were competitive.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But the Celtics figured out a way to win. All 4 games, and so that it went quickly. The Bucks Pistons series was just
real quick on that Celtics Pacers series. Tell me what you think about this because watching that series, like you said, they were all pretty close games, or at least throughout the game, most of them were pretty close. is the fact that we talk about how good the Pacers are without a star on this team because Oladipo's out. Is not having a star or a go-to guy at the end of a game what Celtics have maybe 3 stars that they could go to at any moment in time at the end, especially, one especially clutch superstar in Kyrie Irving, but is that why? To me, that's what happened to the Pacers. They were right there. They're just as good as anybody throughout a game, but when you need a bucket, Miles Turner's not your guy.
No. Bojan Bogdanovic is your best offensive player
right
at this point without Oladipo in the lineup. So, and he's good, but he's more of a shooter. Now, he made a couple plays, going to the basket against guys one-on-one that surprised me in this series. But for the most part, he's more of a shooter, a spot-up guy, which is where, he could be even more effective. Now, he put up some 30-point games and stuff like that without Oladipo because he shot the ball more. But, he's even more effective, though, I think, with a guy like Oladipo who can penetrate, get in the lane, and draw some attention because he is their best scorer, and then kick it out to Bogdanovic and some of the other guys that can knock down threes. But, yes, that to answer your question, that is one of the factors for sure. Not having a guy that can just make a play like a Damian Lillard, like,
Kyrie Irving,
had
to play against.
Right. So, yes, I do think that was one of the things. I think speed was a big deal. The Pacers are a slow team. They're slow. Darren Collison's pretty quick, I guess, but Corey Joseph's kind of quick, but they don't really play that way. They don't run a lot or anything because they have a big lineups in at times with Sabonis and Miles Turner, and even Bogdanovic.
He's definitely not the fastest guy either.
No. So they're
I feel like if you're balding, you're automatically slow.
Let's see. That could be. Yeah, you could be right.
You name one person that you've seen in the NBA balding for a while, but my man got slower as he started balding. When he had them free flowing locks, that Euro step was off the hook, off the chain.
Yeah. And he became more. I don't want to say crafty because that's too.
I love it.
I know. But he was. I mean, that really, he really was. Anyway, and especially toward the end of his career, he was just smarter really than a lot of players. But anyway. So it was that plays at the end of games, and you're when you have a better roster, you're going to make plays at the end of games. They also, I think, have a little bit better coach. Nate McMillan did a great job with the Pacers, but Brad Stevens should have won Coach of the Year last year, and he's not going to get it this year either. But once again, he should be right in that mix. Who has learned how little the regulars feel like he didn't even want to be involved in the Celtics regular season. Anyway, so the Bucks Pistons series, that was a runaway. Not really much to even go in on that. That was Blake Griffin was hurt, playing on a bum wheel, and it showed. Plus, the Bucks are just a all-around better team. Without question. By far. So, Antetokounmpo v. Kyrie Irving. What do we got? Well, that's going to be an exciting matchup, although that's not going to be a matchup. Yeah, they're not going to guard each other. But it is going to be exciting to see because you can, score for score, back and forth. But ultimately, it is the Bucks versus the Celtics, and the Bucks have impressed me so much. They are night and day from last year. Mike Budenholzer has that team the best. One more time. What's his name? Mike Budenholzer. I love that name. Coach Bud. Yeah. Coach Bud. Budenholzer. Yeah. So I can't even say it, to be honest with you. And he's a Spurs disciple. He got this Bucks team who was not the best defensive and offensive. They had the best offensive and possibly the best player in the league. But who's guarding him in this? Who's guarding him for the Celtics? Is it going to be? For the most part, it's going to be Al Horford. For the most part, it's going to be Al Horford. Once again, I feel like Al Horford tried to let his hair grow out. He'd be balding, but he shaves his head, so we don't really know. I feel like he might. And you don't think Marcus are going to put him on him? Last season, Shemi Ojale played a lot, guarded probably second most, guarded Giannis. It's not going to matter. It will not matter. He's going to get his points.
But it's got to come down to somebody's got to slow him down, beat him up. You got it's the old Michael Jordan deal. You gotta constantly have a body on him. You'll probably even see Jason Tatum on him for a little while, maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown, probably. It's going to be a mixture of people throughout the game because he will wear you down, bro.
Yeah. And they do that with, a lot of teams do that to guard James Harden. Keep a body on him. You're not going to stop him from scoring, but you concentrate on keeping him off the boards. Is this Bucks team rebounds so much better than they did last year, and a big part of it is because they got Giannis Antetokounmpo to buy into becoming a great rebounder, and that's part of why he is a candidate, a pretty high candidate for possibly Defensive Player of the Year. He might win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year.
That would be impressive
because of the way he has changed his mindset on the defensive end. He is.
I haven't really heard
player.
too much talk on him in that. I mean, I know that he's definitely been better. I haven't heard too much talk about him possibly winning that title, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me in any way at all. Just another knock on LeBron. It'd be another knock on LeBron James.
It's not.
That's how I see that.
But it's not. It's not though. But
so who wins this? Who wins this series?
I think the Bucks. I think it is going to be a good series. And I think the Bucks probably in 6.
Wow, Bucks in 6. Huh?
I think so.
Man, this is tough for me because I really like this Celtics team. Gordon Hayward is finally paid for the past 3 years before he got hurt. 2-3 years before he got hurt. I don't know, man. You got Lopez, who all of a sudden realized he could shoot the 3. Antetokounmpo, Bledsoe, who might be one of my favorite. He's probably the Bucks will probably. You know what? I'm not doing it. I'm going against you. I'm taking the Celtics in 7. No, I'm taking Celtics in 7.
Okay.
Because I believe that's.
No, I don't. I
not
don't
at all.
like you are.
Not at all.
Okay, so we'll see what happens in that series. Either way, I think it's going to be a great series. Let's breeze right through Toronto versus Orlando because that was essentially a sweep. It was a 5-game series, but Toronto was quite a bit better than Orlando. Orlando ended up having a much better year than people thought, and they're one of those teams that you're going to look at next year, and it's going to be kind of exciting to see if they make any adjustments, add any pieces to what they already have, because they were one of the better teams in the East in the second half of the season. So it'll be fun to see how they progress next year. Toronto, though, moves on, and they will face the 76ers, who beat the Brooklyn Nets 4-1. Now, that series was another one of those that had a little extra storyline to follow, with the whole thing with Jared Dudley and Ben Simmons, and of course Joel Embiid gets involved in everything.
Right.
So you had a little scuffle, and you had a lot of talking through the media, people putting Ben Simmons down early in the series, and then he comes back and has great games, and it was kind of exciting for that reason, even though it wasn't a great competitive. I mean, it wasn't not a competitive series, but it wasn't as competitive because the Sixers won 4-1.
Sure.
But like I said, Joel Embiid loves to get into he's always kind of trash talking, kind of trolling. He does it on the court, and then he does it if he against the Karl Anthony Towns and the other centers in the league.
Yeah.
If you have something to say to him during this game, because
didn't he draw a picture of the guy? What's the kid's name that was in Texas last year? No, not Texas. It was DeAndre Ayton, wasn't it, from Arizona? He drew some kind of picture of him, and it was a picture of Joel on Twitter. Like the dude's a troll. The dude is the reason why All right. I kind of like Joel Embiid. I think what he does is funny. And if you're going to do a problem with the joking part of it, I don't care about that. That doesn't bother me. It's stupid people on Twitter that bother me, not guys like Joel Embiid. That dude, I'm good with him because that dude's a nutcase.
I don't like the constant, what seems like sometimes attention seeking he doesn't have to do that because he's one of the best players in the league. But it seems like he's so maybe he doesn't do it for attention, but he's very.
It's just him, man. He's a goober, and he realizes that when he affects other people, it affects the people he's playing against, and so he continues to do it.
It does, and as long as he's playing well, he's gonna keep doing.
As long as
that.
he's the better player, which is probably gonna be. Has he ever on or Steph? Or KD? No, not that I know of. I don't think so. It's always about a guy like Dudley, some guy who gets 5 minutes off the bench for San Antonio or for the Nets.
Fourth, he'll even I think if it happens with Giannis, or if people ask him, if people bait him, if the media baits him or something into saying something after a game, after something happens in a game, he'll speak his mind and he'll say something that is probably going to come across to some people as kind of aggravating, but you know what though, I'm with you in that.
It's all in fun, man.
In some cases, it is.
Talking when he gets out and he's doing his press conferences, that's just messing around, man. That's just him. It's just him being a goober. Just say what you want. You're better. It comes right back to the whole deal with baseball. If you're better, if I'm better than you and I beat you, yeah. I think I have a little. I think I got a little. I got a little room to strut my stuff a little bit, and I got no problem with it. What's the difference? The difference between confidence and cockiness.
A big difference, and there can be a fine line, but
it's a big difference. But there can be a fine line.
So I don't know if I'm gonna explain it well, but I really do think that there can be a big difference, but there is also a fine line, and a lot of it is the way that people deliver, people carry themselves, and
it's just, you know what though, he carries himself how he carries himself. But if a guy comes up and he starts talking in that kind of accent and he's making fun of somebody, how do you not laugh at that? That is extremely funny.
The accent is kind of fun to listen to. Some of the stuff he does, I just do not like. I just don't like. He comes across as cocky sometimes, and I understand he's a great player, but Giannis doesn't really come across that way. Right?
Okay, Giannis isn't that kind of guy. I mean, KD used to never come across that way, and now when he was at OKC, he had a silent. He signed his extension without having the press there, or without having TV cameras and all that. Did his little speech. He loves OKC. Blah blah blah. Quietest dude you ever seen in your life. Now he goes to the Warriors, and this dude's got 18 Twitter accounts. He's yelling. He's got more technical fouls than anybody in the NBA. The guy's a mouth all day long. What did he say the other day talking about Patrick Beverly? He said, "Man, come on, you know who I am. I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am." That's a totally quiet in a small market like Milwaukee. Things going down doesn't necessarily mean that you're not that goober funny guy who might run his mouth a little bit more than you think. Different city around different media.
Maybe just KD being covered more, but really even then,
that's what I mean.
He was the second best player in the league, even in OKC, and Giannis is probably the best player in the league now.
Wow.
So no matter when you're on that level,
when you're best player in the league,
yeah, I think so. When you're on that level, it doesn't matter what market you're in. Every game in these playoffs are nationally televised, so we're going to see Embiid, and we're going to now. So who from the Raptors is he going to get into it with?
Oh God, who knows? You don't know. I have no idea. Let me find a guy for the Raptors that plays the least amount of minutes. I'm going to say a guy that Michael Carter Williams, or get into it with him or.
No, you know who I guarantee
is it.
I don't know. I'm not even sure who you're talking about.
He's
probably
because I'm looking at Orlando.
He and Serge Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka. I hope this goes 7 games. I hope this goes 7 games because they're watching, and there will be one of the funniest press conferences afterwards you've ever get up and walk away from in the middle of it like you did last time.
Okay, so this has potential to be a fun series too. Who are you taking in the series though? Who wins this series?
Between the Raptors and the Sixers, you know what, man? Eventually, day in the East, it's gonna happen. they're just still young and immature, man. And as fun as it is to listen to them, and as funny as much as I laugh at a guy like Joel Embiid at the stupid stuff he says and does, and you got guys like Ben Simmons who's upset at everybody in the world for booing him and everything else that happened. I just don't think they're quite there mentally yet to be able to play. Whereas you got the most cerebral person in all of basketball in Kawhi Leonard. Or maybe I say cerebral just because he's the quietest person in all of basketball. So I just think he's that way. I don't know. But Kawhi's been there, done that, been on some of the best teams in the league. And I'm going Toronto. I'm going Toronto behind my boy Siakam. Pascal Siakam.
Pascal Siakam had an outstanding series against Orlando. He's going to be a name that we're talking about for possibly most improved this year. Man, I'm pretty torn on this. I like the Sixers roster a lot more, but I think Toronto plays better together a lot of the time. It depends on how committed they are to each other, I think, in Philadelphia. It's still part of that. You mentioned their youth, and a big part of it is because two of their biggest pieces, Jimmy Butler and from the Clippers, why did his name just escape me?
Sorry, I was paying attention to comments on the Facebook Live. I wasn't paying attention to you. What did you say?
So Jimmy Butler and the young man who
Ben Simmons
was traded over from the Clippers, Tobias Harris. For goodness sake, Adam.
Lou.
Those two guys are still new. Jimmy Butler's had a little more time to assimilate, but Tobias Harris has still only been about a month or a month and a half or something like that since he's been with the team. They're still figuring that out. He's had some big games and stuff, and he had a big game when Embiid was out. It was a game 2, I think, in that last series. But together and how much defense they play, I think you're going to get defense from Toronto, and we're going to see how everybody else besides Kawhi Leonard.
All right.
I think I'm taking Toronto in 7.
In 7, I'm taking.
You're going to get your wish for 7 games.
It's not my wish. That's your wish. I wish they were all sweeps.
Well, you want 7 games for the.
I want
Serge
7
Ibaka,
games so Serge Ibaka and Joel Embiid can get in a fight. That's all I want. I want, because Joel Embiid. You want to talk about getting in somebody's head? Serge Ibaka might be the easiest person to get inside his head.
He's into it with everybody.
Like, Joel Embiid will have him so upset before the first tip of the first game. I can almost guarantee this is going to be bad. I want a camera just on those two because they're going to play each other a lot. It's going to be those two bodying up a lot. Sure. And I want a camera solely on that matchup the whole time. I just want zoomed in so I can try to read the lips of Joel Embiid, even though I probably can't because he speaks in a different tongue. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. So we'll see. All right, so that's where we're going with that. So let's go up to it's officially won. That game is over. It was a close game. Utah was able to They grabbed game 4 to put them up 3-1, or to put the day. So the Rockets will be playing Los Angeles Clippers, and let's be honest, this is more than likely going to be Golden State. Can we just say it's Golden State? I mean, they're up 3-1 right now.
Pretty much, and they're playing right now. They're probably going to close it out tonight.
Let's just call it. I'm just calling it for Golden State.
You're calling it?
I'm calling it for Golden State.
Poor Clippers, man.
Nah, hey, when you're the 8 seed, when you're this, one of the mediocre teams, you're going to get beat. I'm not getting back into that.
They're a little better.
I'm not doing that.
Anyway,
I know.
Congratulations on a nice season for the Clippers.
But it's now
going to be.
Let's talk about because really that Utah Rockets series, there wasn't a ton going on with that. You might have thought Donovan Mitchell might have been able to pull out another game in there. I don't know. This is kind of the way I thought it would. There's not really a surprise here to me.
It was a surprise to me. this was kind of similar to the Boston Indiana series in the East to me. I thought Utah actually had a chance to beat the Rockets in a series, and it wasn't as close as I thought it was going to be.
No.
I mean, obviously the series ended 4-1, but even a couple of the games, they were fairly competitive.
They had 20 points, 30 points.
Yeah.
I mean, it was there was some big losses in those 4 losses for the.
The other night he had to shoot a ton of shots to get it, and you don't have a ton of other shooters now. You have a couple guys that can shoot and stuff, but as a team, when you don't shoot that well, and the same thing happened with the Pacers.
The 2 guys that really played the best basketball for them, besides Donovan Mitchell, was probably Jay Crowder and Rudy Gobert, and neither of them throw jumpers up all day long. Those are big fellas back to the. Then you're not going to win a playoff series. You might win a series, and with Donovan Mitchell being the one guy who was really shooting and getting much known what was going to happen in my eyes. So that's over. So we're at we got Golden State versus the Rockets. Because
it's
gonna happen.
Let's just last year's matchup in the playoffs, right? Went 7 games. The Rockets had them beat something straight, 3-pointers. Chris Paul was out the last game, lost in Game 7 to the.
I'm taking the Rockets.
Warriors.
I'm taking the Rockets. I'm taking the Rockets. This is stupid, but I just want to see. I just want to see somebody else in there. I feel bad for saying that because I just watched Klay Thompson's brother in Columbus yesterday playing baseball, and I love guys like Klay Thompson, and I love Steph Curry, and KD's an all right guy. Draymond Green's a ding dong, but for the most part, I really enjoy. I don't know, man. It's tough for me, but I'm going Houston. I think James Harden doesn't let this one get away. He goes. So I love that dude. He's still one of the best ball handlers, best passers in the league. I'm going with him.
Okay, I'm not.
I know you're not.
I'm going with Golden State.
I'm pretty sure I picked Golden State to win the whole thing, but I'm changing it all up now.
That's okay. You can change it up.
Changing it up.
Okay, so Golden State is. I just think they're going to know how they need to play. I think they're going to know how hard they need to play to win this series, and I think they're just going to do it because I think that's – we talked a little bit last week about if you don't play as hard as you can for so long through an entire regular season and you lose games because of that, you can get too familiar with that level of intensity and then it can hurt you. But – I just think that they can turn it on as long as they're shooting the ball. As long as they're shooting the ball well, Golden State's gonna beat them, and they're just gonna do the same thing they've done for the last 5 years. And
I don't know if they're gonna be that well, if they're gonna do that well and just do the same old thing. But I'm still doing it. I'm going with it. I'm sticking with them. I can't even. I really don't like James Harden that much either, to be honest with you. As a human being or person, guy kind of annoyed me. Didn't he have somebody like hire people to beat somebody up or something like that?
Oh, I don't know.
An ex-basketball player's son or something.
Wow, I don't know.
You don't remember that? He had some strip. He was in the strip club, and he had some girl texting a bunch of hooligans to go beat some dude up, and they were all watching the video while they were at the club.
Wow.
Oh, you got to look that bad boy up.
Man.
You got to look that up. James Harden, the godfather of Houston.
Right.
It was an ex-Houston. It was a Houston, like a famous Houston Rockets son. I can't think of it. Doesn't matter.
Hakeem?
No, it wasn't Hakeem's boy. that would have drawn a little bit more attention. All right, so let's get on. So we both think that. All right, so Portland Trailblazers and OKC just finished their series. Damian Lillard walks off, last second, 3, drops it, waves goodbye to my boys on the bench, which I am good with. Like I said, look, I just did what I just did. I just won the game. I hit a 35-footer with no time left. I feel like you got a little. You can have a little swag, right? I'm good with it. You know how I feel about this swag. You don't. I want to know what you think about waving goodbye directly at OKC's bench after it happened?
I was so impressed with the play and the shot, and I continue to forget about how good Damian Lillard is.
Everybody in the world does. I do. Everybody does.
And then every time I see him play, I'm like, oh my gosh, why is this guy not talked about as a top 5 player in this league? And we saw that again this series, and he was the closer again. It reminded me of the shot he made a few years ago.
50 points.
That gave him 50, and it knocked down a 37-footer with Paul George, another guy who might be the defensive player of the year, right in his face. And then he did. And look, I
still haven't got how you feel about the wave.
I like a lot better if you are respectful and you pretend like. It's so like if you're classy about, if you dominate or you make some incredible play and you're classy about it and you just act like, okay, that's about it.
Hit the game winner to clinch a series.
I love that so much better than what he did. But
so what about Michael Jordan when he jumps up and fist bumps and
he jumps up and fist pumps in
Michael Jordan was one of the worst trash talkers in the world, too.
He didn't do that in anybody's face. Different things. He wasn't waving at anybody. He didn't get in anybody's face. He didn't do any of that kind of stuff.
He didn't get in anybody's face. He just waved goodbye. Just told him it's time to go. Get out of here. Head on home.
And you're trash talking, and that's, you know what? I understand. It's part of the game.
Excitement, man. If you don't have excitement after you did something, I know
exactly what we just talked about. You can have excitement and be excited about what you just did without rubbing it in somebody's face, without boasting about it.
Here's the deal. So Lillard said it best. They asked him exactly who and why he was waving after he made that shot. And he said it best. They all sat there and watched Russell Westbrook rock the baby, telling him he's too small when he drives in on him. And they won one game and were running their mouth after game 3 that they won? I think that OKC won or something like that. And Lillard said, we listened to them all running their mouth after that game, running their mouth during the games. Nobody said anything. We said we'd wait till we get our 4th. And that's what they did. Especially if you got a team that is running their mouth at you and you've been good all series long about keeping your mouth shut, and then you just beat them on a last-second 3 to clinch the series. Yeah, you do whatever you want now.
Okay, so they didn't keep their mouth shut. If OKC was running their mouth all series, Portland was not running their mouth.
Okay, but it wasn't Damian Lillard, that's for sure.
It was. I just saw a video of him telling Westbrook on the way down after Lillard scored. I don't remember which game it was, but I just saw a video shortly before I came over here of bringing the ball down and Lillard's guarding him. Quit running away from this blank whooping. And he was saying that because Westbrook continued to switch on the pick and roll, because every play starts with pick and roll. He continued just to switch, and then Lillard would score, and then he told him, "You're running away from this."
I love it. Whooping. That's just normal trash talk, though.
It is.
That's not doing this, rocking the baby and screaming. He's too small. Russell Westbrook.
I kind of dug that one a little bit. I was
like, I like that a little.
That's kind of cool. But anyway, I'm still always going to root for and like the guy more who doesn't say anything, who just outplays you, is better than you, and doesn't have to decide to show you how big his heart is after he free arrow. A guy who plays really well.
You're so old.
And I agree with that. But I'm just always going to root for the guy who's classier about it and who acts like he has been there before. It's just easier for me to root for because it's so much more endearing than the current culture of beating your chest.
I just hate. I don't understand
pointing at yourself.
Why are you not allowed to celebrate something you did?
There's a difference between
professional sports are so difficult that when you do something, why is it?
You can celebrate. You can celebrate down the other guy and and putting yourself.
What is
and
a
putting
3
yourself
arrow
up
putting
front.
down the other guy?
Well, I didn't. That's not specifically.
Or
But
pointing at your heart, or
you don't have to
pointing at yourself. That's not showing somebody else up. Rocking the baby, telling somebody they're too small after you make a basket,
is.
then that is
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
But what's
But do
wrong
you
with,
have to make you're grabbing attention for what you just did?
Yeah, because it's tough what I just did, and some people get up on that. It makes them play better. That excitement, that adrenaline gets pumping. If that's what it takes for you to get high on this game and start and play well, some people that's what they need. They need a burst. They need to get themselves up some way. I enjoy it. Get up, get excited. You do something good.
Michael didn't do that.
Oh,
Larry
baloney.
didn't do that. Hakeem didn't do that. David Robinson didn't do that.
Larry Johnson
Wilt
was the
didn't
most
do that.
disrespectful human being on a court.
Larry Johnson?
Larry Johnson. Larry.
Coaches, why in the world would you put this guy on me? He did
How's
that
that?
stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that
Just as bad.
in some cases.
Now
some
it's
cases.
just some cases because it's your
No,
idols
in
that
some
did it.
cases, but he's
But now
not,
we bring it back into these young folks, and they do the same
But he's
thing, and now it's
talking.
everything.
He's talking. He's not.
It's a show now. It's just what it
It's
is.
right, but
it's
I
a
don't.
show.
I want it to be the sport. I want it to be
it's
about
still the sport.
I want it to be about the competitive greatness because you worked so hard and you achieved something.
You achieved it.
And then if you behave like a classy individual, look, I disagree with this person, or I'm in a contest with this person, so they are the scum of the earth, and I want everybody to know that, and I am the greatest thing to ever be made by God. And that's like the culture right now, and it's accepted. It's being accepted more and more. You're talking about it, how much you like it. A lot of that, it is
I
more of
don't
a show.
think-
And that's an overstatement. I overstated. You have to draw more attention to yourself for what you just did and put another person down that you just defeated on a single play or in a game or whatever, to have to draw, and that person losing to have to talk at me. So now I'm going to bash him because I beat him.
I'd like to know how much of this was done back or heard the press conference afterwards. I wonder how much
No,
of this
there were
stuff
press
happened before
conferences
back
all
in
the
the
time.
day. They sucked. We kicked their ass, kicked their butt, pardon my language. We kicked their butt, and it was just, yeah, you're right, you did, and they move on. Now you say stuff, and oh my God, it's everywhere. Oh my gosh, look what he said. Oh my gosh, he did this. Oh my gosh, he said that. Can you believe that? Oh my God.
It was more, and you're right. I mean, the
Let these dudes play.
more media. Well, then play. Then play.
They do
Don't-
play.
It's
They do play,
it's
and when
partial.
they do, back in the day, Babe Ruth used to call a shot. Tell me that's not the most disrespectful
Did that
thing in
once.
the world. Whatever, that's disrespectful. I'm in your terms. If it was your terms, you would be saying that's disrespectful. I'm showing you up by telling you what I'm about to do. It's Babe Ruth.
Little bit of a difference between doing it before you hit it and then hitting it, or doing something afterwards.
I don't
There's
know.
a difference there to me. But
Okay,
anyway,
either way, all
I'm not a
saying
big. I'm
is
not a big.
I'm totally good with, if you are a professional, you're an athlete, it's your sport, you're in the game, you do your thing.
Chris, who is going to win the Denver Nuggets San Antonio Spurs series?
This could go on forever. I think you're getting at that. You're done with it. You're saying
No,
you're done.
we need to move on because we got a lot to talk about
Okay.
tonight.
All right. So I'm gonna go with this is tough. I know who you're rooting for. You're rooting for the classy Spurs that don't talk or say anything ever. Even though Greg Popovich might be one of the meanest human beings to sideline reporters in the world, but that's okay. You can love that because that's your guy. That's your guy. So you love that guy who shows everybody up every time the microphone's put in front of him. You love that guy, but don't love anybody else. So you pick and choose, how you're going to win your argument. Anyway,
I absolutely do pick and choose. I absolutely do.
Everybody does. That's how you try to prove a point in an argument. It's okay. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going with Denver. I'm looking at my boys. My three arrow, Jamal Murray. And I'm taking him. I'm only taking them because I want to see as many three arrows as I possibly can tomorrow night. I hope Jamal Murray drops 50.
He's playing fantastic. It's a lot of fun to watch. For sure,
Yep.
right now. I just realized that. Up 3-2. They're going. And then they got to go back to Denver for Game 7 if there is a Game 7. Because Game 7 is in Denver and because they're already up 3-2, I think I'm taking a win. I think I'm going to take Denver, though, which means – so I don't even know if we want to talk about this yet because it's not a guarantee like the Warriors series is. But so Portland – if Portland and Denver is the matchup, do you take Portland or Denver in that?
At this moment in time, with the way that this era of sports goes, Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers are the number one topic in everybody's mouth. So yeah, I'm taking, after seeing what they just did, I'm taking Portland. I don't care who they play.
I think I'm with you here because, man, Portland is like, and they're missing Nurkic, and who's going to be out for the rest of the playoffs. But even with him gone, they just find ways to win. Dame is awesome. CJ McCollum is, still one of the best shooters. He's probably one of the more underrated guys in the league.
Behind the Warriors, does the Portland Trailblazers have the best shooting backcourt? Maybe in NBA history, can you think of any other NBA team with Lillard? Take Lillard and McCollum and compare them to. Can you think of anybody out there that had a better backcourt shooting wise? Besides the Warriors, obviously, nobody will ever come anywhere near Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. But nobody knows CJ McCollum. The kid is a terrific shooter. Damian Lillard, scorer in general. Mm-hmm. Shooting wise, is there a better duo in history? Back in the day, nobody shot threes like that. So really, you got to say in the past,
the 80s, when the 3-point line was around, they
still weren't shooting. I mean, Magic Johnson went a whole season without making a three, or I think he made three threes or something like that.
He was never a shooter,
but I know, but as a point guard,
much more conventional point guard. But yeah,
even if you.
I'm trying to think if Del Curry and Glenn Rice played together on the Hornets, but Glenn Rice probably would be considered.
I would consider him more as a 3 or 4. Take that out because I wouldn't put Elo.
Really, probably pretty underrated as a shooting backcourt, and you could even probably talk about the other guy, John Stockton and Jeff Hornacek. You could talk about those guys as terrific. I don't think of Stockton as a shooter. Look up his numbers.
I'm not going to do it right now, but and I probably won't do it ever, but I believe you.
I'll do it for you, buddy. I will do it for you because I'll probably be doing it anyway.
Yep.
But anyway,
it's going to be in your mind.
I don't know.
Anyway, I apologize to come off of that. So
no, it's.
So you're taking Portland as well?
I think I'm going to take Portland. Yeah.
All right.
It would be fun to see Portland and Golden State in the Western Conference Finals.
That would be a blast. That would be fun. All right. So real quick. Swipe left, swipe right.
Jeez. Well, that would be up for debate. You could debate some of the guys that I would name.
Okay.
I could name
swipe left, swipe right. Damian Miller's top 10 player in the NBA.
Swipe right.
Okay. Definitely. If I would have asked you that, swipe left, swipe right. If I'd have asked you that same question 2 weeks ago, you would have said swipe left.
I don't think so. It's just he impresses me more every time I see him play.
I gotcha.
But he is a top 10 player for sure.
He's legit, but he plays in Portland, so sorry about your luck. All right.
I hope he stays there, man. I like to see those nondescript teams.
Yeah,
get
Milwaukee. Yeah, let's have a Milwaukee Portland finals, and nobody in the rest of the country will watch.
They would be insane if they didn't
watch that. Nope, there's the average person's not even going to care about that.
That's why they're only average.
That's exactly right. The super fan like you, though, flies down and takes 3 dribbles from underneath the basket to the other side of the court and dunks it to up and down, screaming in his living room, but nobody's.
I'm just cheering. I'm not going to.
Heaven forbid you get excited about something.
Anybody about it.
Heaven forbid somebody gets excited about what they do. Oh my gosh, I just did something pretty sweet. I apologize for getting excited about that. It was pretty cool, wasn't it? Oh, careful how cool it is. Careful. Don't tell me how cool that was.
You know what's really cool?
What's cool?
Training personally with Peggy Edwards.
Yeah, it is.
Chris, no matter what your fitness level is, if you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate workouter, like I would consider myself, workouter, like I would consider you. If you'd like to be challenged and want the benefit of working out with a personal trainer, but don't want to pay for a personal trainer, don't want to pay $100 an hour, $80 an hour, whatever it is for a personal trainer, check out Training Personally with Peggy Edwards. Training Personally is interval circuit training for all levels with a personal trainer, Peggy Edwards.
Yep.
At your pace, on your time. Peggy Edwards keeps workouts safe. She keeps them fresh. She keeps them fun. Find Peggy Edwards, Training Personally with Peggy Edwards on Facebook.
Yep.
I believe she's on Instagram. And she is.
I don't even know what Instagram is. So.
She is most. You liar. She is most certainly on trainingpersonally.com.
Check her out. She's awesome, and she's also family. So there you go.
That's right.
All right. Yeah.
Swipe left, swipe right.
You got it. What do you got?
Stretching your calves on the cement base of the gas pump while you are pumping gas.
Swipe right every single time.
Every single time.
You know why? Because my legs get tight.
Mine are always tight.
My I can't bend over and touch my toes. So any muscle from my ankle to my gluteus maximus is always tight. I can't.
Same. My hamstrings are eternally tight. My calves are eternally tight.
Yep.
There's no better way to stretch your calves than, and no better time to stretch your calves than doing it on the base of the gas pump.
So true.
If you're pumping gas and you're not doing that, you're doing it wrong.
You're pumping gas wrong. I think I have to agree with you on this. I can't think of any other way. I mean, it's probably the best way to if you're on your way to probably training personally and you know it's going to be a leg day, probably a good idea to get gas.
Stop and get gas.
Stretch
get a
your
good
legs
stretch
out. I agree, 100%, 100%. What else you got? You got another one over there?
I do. I'm going to save it.
All right. Swipe left, swipe right. We've talked about this so many times. Swipe left, swipe right. Going to a baseball game by yourself.
Swipe right.
Have you done it before?
I have done it.
Yeah. So I just did it yesterday, and it was pretty fun. Went to a minor league baseball game in Columbus, the Columbus Clippers. Sat down. It was dime a dog day. They had hot dogs for 10 cents.
You got to love minor league baseball.
10-cent hot dogs.
I'll tell you what,
I'm
the
not
Columbus
kidding.
Clippers was one of the games that I've been to by myself.
There you go.
I went on like a 4-day minor league baseball trip by myself one summer.
Why not? That sounds like fun. So there was literally a grown man in front of me, and he had 50 cents in his hand, and he went up and got 5 hot dogs and gave the lady
Gross.
50 cents. You could only get 5 at a time. 5 was the max.
That's it, huh?
That was all. That's all they let you do at a time. Although you could go back multiple times. I refused to get 5 hot dogs. Insane.
That's excessive.
Yeah. So I got 3 and 3. But that's all right. It is what it is. Anyway, I was going to leave the game earlier, and I did. However, I never went to my seat. I stood around, and I was so lucky to have sat down to stand and a woman that I almost lost my mind listening to these people.
Give us a little taste.
All right, so, okay, where to start? So what was the first one? I don't know what the first one was, but I'll tell you the one that got them. There's a pop-up. There was like 6 pop-ups, and 4 of them fell through.
Wow.
In the infield. And it was not, people weren't even close. This was in the infield. First baseman takes about 5 steps in front of the bag. He's looking up at it. The second baseman's even with the baseline, basically. He's looking at it, and they both let the ball drop in between them. Runner on first, they then pick the ball up, throw it to second base. The batter's now on first base. This guy's going, I wonder why they didn't call infield fly rule. Well, one, because it's not.
Right.
I mean, at just the end of it. So he's talking to her, and she's like, oh, yeah, Is that a rule? Yes, it's a rule. Yeah. Sometimes they call infield fly. Sometimes. That's how he's explaining to her. Sometimes.
Oh.
Yeah, they just, whenever the umpire feels like it. That it wasn't called is because somehow the umpires knew that the fielders knew that the guy who was running to first, so they could throw out the guy at second base. Men's slow pitch softball, where you might try to pull some scam like that. This is professional baseball. No, it was, oh my gosh. So I'm 2 feet away from these people, and I didn't say anything. It was so hard.
That blows me away.
Oh my God,
that
it was
blows
so
me
hard.
Away.
If somebody else was there with me, I would have said something. I couldn't have done it because I would have had to say something because I have to tell that person next to me what's going on the other side of me. So therefore, I would have said something. Now, I did not say anything. They also said some stuff about CGI, Game of Thrones. Any Game of Thrones boobs you see aren't real. They're all CGI, which I don't know how that works. I don't even know what CGI really even is, but it sounds like it's some kind of fake thing.
Computer generated, yeah.
There you go. I don't think any of them were. That's what was the other one? There was one that started the whole thing. Oh, there was another one. So these are obviously Odell Beckham Jr. is in Cleveland. Now all of a sudden they're Odell Beckham Jr. fans, so you become an apologist for the guy for your team. So Odell Beckham Jr. the other day went on a Twitter rant for whatever, and she says, "What did you guys think about Odell Beckham's Twitter stuff?" Guy goes, overblown media. Overblown. No, sometimes it is. Mm-hmm. She says, "Do you think that he's a drama queen? He's not a drama queen. The media makes him out to be that way." No, Odell Beckham Jr. is probably the second biggest drama queen in the entire NFL behind Antonio Brown. But because this dude, if that guy was still in New York, he'd have been like, "Yeah, that was crazy. That dude's a weirdo." No, he plays for Cleveland. I can't. You got to be able to say, "Look, Puig's a psycho." I can tell you that right now. I'll tell you, he is. He's crazy, and there are things he does that probably piss everybody off. But it is what it is. Anyway, it was just fun. It was fun to sit down. Oh, I know what the other one was. So then the section that we're sitting behind is empty. Everybody else, there was 22 people in this section. Every other section's got hundreds of people in it. Trying to figure out what's going on over here. Adam Schmidt was the usher. Adam Schmidt was the usher for this aisle because
I already like this guy.
He was walking down to people sitting in the section asking to see their tickets. There's literally 340 seats in this section. 20 of them are filled. There's nobody there. And he's walking with these random people with nobody around him. "Can I see your ticket?" "Sir, you're over there." What? Let the dude sit down. It's a minor league baseball game on a Tuesday night, and there's nobody here. What are you doing?
That's crazy. That is crazy. I'm all about following the rules. I'm all about doing the right thing. In that situation, come on, man. If there's nobody else around.
This is like the 5th or 6th inning. He's down there kicking people out.
At this point,
nobody else is coming.
You're not getting people coming in late.
Nobody else is coming, brother. It's done. It's over. If anything, everybody's leaving now because I left 3 hours into that game. I left at 9:30. It was in the 7th inning. The worst thing in the entire world. It was
because nobody could catch a fly ball.
Nobody could catch a daggone fly ball. Anyway, one other thing. If you're going to a game, please, I don't know how hard it is. There's giant numbers, huge numbers that tell you what section is in front of you. How in God's name are you people walking up in front of a sign? Literally, sign is 8 feet in the air, so it's 3 feet above your head, 2.5 feet above your head. It's right there. You're staring at it, looking at the number that says 22, and you look at the usher and say, "Is this my section? I'm in section 37." Are you kidding me? How do people not know how to find their seat at a sporting event. I don't understand that.
How did a person like that get to the game?
I don't know how they got to the game, but I see it all the time. You see it all the time. People can't find their section. Like, it's not like they got like section 1 and then section like 11 and then 506 and that's like how they did it. No, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 101, 102, 103. How? I don't understand.
Now, I've been to stadiums, ballparks, arenas where the signage is a little weird or placed in an odd space or something like that, or the other right next to each other.
Okay, I'm cool with that. If I walk
that
up and
can
I'm
be
like,
confusing.
and there's no sign. Sometimes the sign's on the other sides. I mean, honestly, look up and look around you. You'll probably figure it out in less than a minute what section is what on your own. But if you know you're at the right spot, you're just either left or right. Whatever. I'm okay with that, I guess.
But if your ticket says section 101 and you're in section 326 looking for your seat,
guess what? You're not going to get there very fast. It's going to take you a while.
You need to
I don't understand it.
Do something, read a book or something, because
I don't know if they'd be able to read a book because they obviously can't even tell time or know numbers. I just don't understand how in God's name you can do that. It's so but I see it all the time. Happens all the time. But this guy walked up literally at this game and I'm on the third base side behind the third base dugout, and he says, and they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm in 23. I was sitting behind 23. He was in section 7. It's the first base side of the dugout. What are you looking at? Like, what brought you to this usher in this section to ask that question? I don't understand that.
Because the guy in section 14 said you're over there, and then he's like, he's going to go to every usher until he gets to section 7.
Oh my God! You don't understand. Like 14's like behind home plate. He was closer. Like hey, dude, which way do I go? You're over there. You went the wrong way. Now you can't tell time. You can't read numbers. Do you read numbers? You can't see numbers. You don't know your left from your right. Leave the game or get away from me because I don't know. Maybe stay by me because it'll give me another story to tell and give me something to think about.
Make me feel a lot better about myself.
I am not the smartest human being in the world, and I'm not very good at anything. But geez, oh Pete, come on.
Okay, so you went to this game by yourself. Great move. You were traveling for work, and you had a night on your own to do something. That was a great move. Would you say you've more often than anybody else?
We had season tickets for a couple years to the Reds, and it was just me and him all the time.
So there's something about sports, and especially about baseball, that brings fathers and sons together a lot, and it's fun. Sure. One of my favorite things about the Major League Baseball draft every year is that we see the sons of players that we watched. It's pretty depressing, actually, sometimes because it makes me feel so much
old you are. Yeah,
but players that we grew up watching or we knew about around the time that we were kids, their sons are being drafted every year. Somebody the two highest ranked prospects in baseball have two things on consecutive days. April 23rd, the 20th anniversary.
Can you believe it's been that long?
No, I can't.
20 years.
Fernando Tatis Sr. hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning.
I remember that. I remember that happening. I remember sitting on the couch at my mom and dad's house when that happened.
For people who are listening to this podcast or maybe watching right now on Facebook Live, let me say it one more time. Listen carefully. 2 grand slams by the same person in 1 inning of play.
1 inning. Now, that's pretty insane.
That has never happened before, has not happened since. Will it ever happen again?
I hope it does, and I hope it's Fernando Tatis Jr. Because
would that be amazing?
That dude's a stud, and if there's somebody who could do it, it'd be him or Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Who, by the way, this afternoon, it was reported that he is being called up.
It's about time.
Finally.
I don't understand why this one took so long.
And it's been past the time that his service time is not going to be affected.
Past that service time deal.
They've just been waiting. He hit another home run last night, so maybe that was it. Maybe that was the straw.
They're like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to break every record in the minor leagues. We better get him out of there.
I'll tell you what, he is. So, of course, Vladimir Guerrero Sr. We are both big fans of Vladimir Guerrero Sr.,
Love him.
who is entering the Baseball Hall of Fame this season.
Very often. You see kids that were better than their dads. That happens a lot. Going to be a stud. But I could see him. I mean, you could see this guy almost being like an Albert Pujols. And if that's the case, there's not very many people that have had better careers than a guy like Vladimir Guerrero. But, you know, Pujols or someone of that nature, if his son can be as good as advertised, by far this takes over your Ken Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Sr. Wow. It takes over your. I feel like that's pretty automatic, right? I mean, take the seniors into just start with the seniors. Barry and Bobby Bonds. Take the seniors. Mm-hmm. Bobby Bonds, great hitter. Ken Griffey Sr., good hitter, good base runner, good defender. None of them are even close or in the same category. They're 5 categories away from Vladimir Guerrero Sr.
Okay.
And the sons, if this kid can do what they say he's going to be, that's where it comes in. That's where it comes into play.
Something that I thought was really interesting was through 1,055 at bats. So this goes back to about a week and a half ago. Actually a couple weeks ago. Through 1,055 minor league at bats, Vladimir Guerrero Sr. and Jr.'s stats were almost identical, which was really interesting to see. Vladimir Guerrero Sr. in 1,055 at-bats, 285 games in the minor leagues, 343 average, 45 home runs, 184 RBIs, 95 walks, 115 strikeouts. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 332 average, 42 home runs to Senior's 45, 206 RBIs to Senior's 184, 149 walks to Senior's 95.
Well, you know Senior wasn't walking.
He was not walking.
Vladimir Guerrero Sr. just walk was not in his vocabulary.
But making contact may have been a little bit struck out 137 times.
Okay, but that's also a time period thing too, where guys aren't just up there making contact. Vladimir Guerrero went up there and he swang out of his shoes most of the time, but when it came down to it, he just wanted to hit the ball.
Yes.
Every time he was up to bat, he wanted to hit the ball. Now all they want to do, not just hit the ball, they want to hit it out of the park. So they want to hit it as far as they possibly can. It doesn't matter if you strike out because, sabermetrics and blah, 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 young people stuff.
Young people stuff, which I am strongly opposed to, as you know.
That's a lie, by the way. That's a complete and total lie.
I'm just kidding.
Loves him some sabermetrics.
A little.
I do. I really enjoy them, except for the ones that nobody has real ways of measuring. Like if you have 4 different ways to calculate WAR, then I don't want to know until we all use the same thing. Don't tell me until we all use the same thing. If you just have a guy watching tape or something and he's deciding fielding whatever, I don't know about that. I'm not 100% into that.
There's a lot of science and math involved in athletes now, and it's all pretty interesting, but I just don't love the people who are 100% about it, because you still have the eye test, you still have a combination, a hybrid of those baseball guy at all, and evaluating.
Stare at a piece of paper and tell you who to draft.
Right. Not a lot of the time.
Most of the time, if he's looking at a piece of paper that's got some kind of crazy stats on it, it's probably the guy that I'm looking at going, oh my God, that dude's legit good.
You need a combination. And by the way, speaking of crazy stats, let's talk pitching.
I'd like to talk pitching, but before we talk pitching, I'd like to tell you, we just talked about Vladimir Guerrero a little bit and how he's going into the Hall of Fame. Cooperstown, I've been to Cooperstown a couple times, never had a single mosquito bite. I don't think they use these guys, but Ohio Mosquito Control is a unbelievable group of guys who come out. If you're in the Cincinnati area, they will make sure you don't all 7,426 species of mosquitoes.
Just putting first. Anthrax out there.
Yeah, basically.
That's good.
Customers come first at Ohio Mosquito Control. If you're not completely satisfied with your treatment, 16 days of your barrier treatment, they'll take care of you. And either get you a respray at no charge or get you a 100% refund. That's how much they know that it's going to work.
Chris, I said this for the last couple weeks. I am pledging to you and to everyone listening to this podcast tomorrow Thursday, April 25th, I will be calling Ohio Mosquito Control because I plan on having them come
You don't
out
even
and
have to call 'em.
spray.
If you go to ohio-mc.com, you can book your appointment online. You can go to Facebook and book your appointment online. They'll send you a nice email, a little text with your booking, tell you when they're going to be there, give you a couple-hour time frame that they'll be there between. Spray your yard, take care of you, email you a bill, and you're good to go.
I taste like an ice cream sundae to mosquitoes.
So you get the welts, you get the bad welts after you get bit, or is it just itchy scratchy?
No, I do. I get some welts and stuff. Yeah, my legs will be all carved up.
For
man.
years,
I'm telling you.
For years, my kids got terrible welts from mosquito bites. Not for the past 2 years, thanks to Ohio Mosquito Control. At Ohio Mosquito Control, they are the pest of the pest.
Hey,
Ohio-mc.com.
Here we got to see in Cincinnati, we got to see the hardest thrower in Major League Baseball when we had Aroldis Chapman as the closer for the Cincinnati Reds. He threw the fastest recorded pitch in Major League history at 105 point so-and-so.
Yep.
He is no longer, as of last year really, he is no longer the fastest thrower in Major League Baseball. Now, his record stands,
sure,
but consistent hard throwing. Jordan Hicks.
How about this kid?
Jordan Hicks is a gentleman out of the bullpen for the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, last year was his rookie season. Something amazing about this, he has never played Double-A or Triple-A baseball. He played in the minors for like a season or something like that, and then he, at 21 years old, made the big league club out of spring training.
I guess so, because the dude throws, what does he average? He averages like 102 miles an hour, but he consistently throws 104.
Yes, he threw, so 104.2 is what he struck on Monday, and that was the fastest pitch this season in Major League Baseball.
All right, so how many fastest pitches is he is he just like got the top 20 because nobody's throwing 104?
He may. I know for sure he has the top 10 fastest pitches this season in Major League Baseball.
That's
he also
impressive.
had the top 10 fastest pitches in all of last year in Major League Baseball.
Is there any other kind of minutia, crazy stat like that really means nothing except that you throw hard? But if that's you, like, you want to talk about celebrating and pumping your chest out, like, yeah, come get you some of this, big boy.
Well,
look, you know what's coming. 104 at your chin.
You know what's crazy is he throws that fast and it moves.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He threw, so in the game on Monday, he threw like 4 straight pitches at like 103 or something like that, 102, 103. And they showed the reaction after each one of those pitches of the St. Louis Cardinals dugout, and those guys are all like,
oh, they're going crazy.
They're all looking at each other and like having all their jaws dropped, and they're looking at the radar gun and they're laughing about it, and they're like,
it's like when Chapman came here, man. When we got Chapman in Cincinnati, that was such a big deal. Just, to see, it didn't matter what else he did. He threw a pitch and you immediately looked out into left center field to see how fast it was. It was the only thing anybody cared about. I didn't care if he struck anybody out, walked them, hit him. It was kind of funny. A couple times he threw a ball behind somebody. Not on purpose, though. Not going to do this.
Without getting into that.
Anyway, but yeah, it's a spectacle. Congratulations to the kid. First off, young boy, live arm. Is this the kid that threw that throws like a 98 mile an hour slider?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that drops off the table and goes 98. Like you just walk away. Like literally, somebody comes up and throws a ball 98 miles an hour and it moves a foot and a half. Yeah, see ya. I'm done.
I feel like when you throw 104, you don't need a second pitch.
Well, I don't know about that. In Major League Baseball, these guys right now, look at Chapman. When Chapman got up, there are days where it was like, oh my God, he got hit sometimes.
Yeah,
and when he got hit hard.
Yeah.
But it's so much in Major League Baseball that you get that timing down. I mean, it's amazing that consistently go up there, and just because you throw 98, 99 doesn't mean you're overgassing anybody. There's a ton. I'd say 80%. Nolan Ryan hit 100, and it was like the craziest thing in the world back in the that old man when they first started testing pitches, because he probably threw harder than that when he was in Houston as a young buck. But where does this go from here? Because now everybody throws 98 to 100 miles an hour. You see it constantly. Where does it? It's got to end somewhere, right? Like, the human arm can't physically go much faster, can't physically throw a ball much faster than that. Although they probably thought that back in the day, like, oh my God, 100 miles an hour, there's no way anybody will ever do that. And now we got a guy throwing 30 pitches over 104 miles an hour.
Somebody's going to throw 120.
That's your thought. By the time me and you are in the grave,
Yep.
120 miles an hour.
So within the next 3 years for me, probably,
I will take that bet. I will take that bet right now.
I had ice cream for dinner again tonight, so
Uh-oh.
we'll see.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
No,
Can't wait to hear what kind of dreams come tonight.
I dream about ice cream, hopefully.
There you go.
No, but seriously, I don't know that somebody's going to throw 120, but I think it's going to keep increasing a little bit. I mean, we might see somebody get to 110 at some point. Everybody's faster and stronger constantly. Every year almost, you see another guy that we are just mesmerized by their athletic ability, because we haven't seen anything like it before. We thought that with Russell Westbrook. Now we're thinking about it with Giannis Antetokounmpo in baseball, though. I mean, this kid is throwing 104. You're gonna continue
you know
to
what
see
the
it.
difference is, though. You're gonna continue to see it, but like you said, he's 21 years old. The thing is this kid's gonna learn how to power to off his fastball to game. You know, you've got a pretty good idea where. When you start throwing the ball that hard, I just can't imagine there's any way you physically can have the control that you need. Aroldis Chapman did it. Aroldis Chapman loves seeing that radar gun hit 103, 104. When it hit 105, he got it. Yeah, I think that's all crazy good and fun. But Aroldis Chapman to become a better pitcher and had better control. I think that's what you'll end up seeing from this kid. I think, just because that seems to be the natural progression, but you're still it still amazes me that there are so many people that consistently throw 100 miles an hour now.
Yeah, but it's gonna be fun to keep seeing these young guys come up.
Men's record.
Yep. It's just always exciting to see the next best thing. You know what I mean?
Nobody else has come up with anything better yet.
Something happened today in the Reds game.
Okay.
Do we want to get?
No, I don't want to do it. So Chris Welch. So I get our cousin Tyler out in for UCLA Radio. Call UCLAradio.com. Check it out. It's hilarious. It's fun. He gets he's a little much of a little bit of a overbearing Reds fan.
He's a Cincinnati homer.
That's the word. Homer is the word I was trying to find, not overbearing. He's a homer,
and
for
we
sure.
love him for that, because he's born and raised in L.A. As big a Reds fan or as big a Cincinnati sports fan
we
as
love
I
it.
know.
Exactly. So that's great. So he sends
By
us
the way, every Wednesday at 8:00.
every Wednesday, 8 o'clock
Eastern
time, 5 o'clock Pacific. So he sends us a group text between the three of us. And it's our beloved Chris Welch, one of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet in your life.
Like how you're setting this up.
Hardly has a bad thing to say about anybody. Travels into third world countries to talk to people's parents, and just you see he just has fun with what he does, and he loves what he does. He's been doing it for a long time, and a guy takes a 3-second snippet, a video with his phone pointed at his TV of 3 seconds of Chris Welch saying something without having anything else that had to do with that whole conversation, without hearing anything else Chris Welch said before or after the conversation. I'm not even going to get into what he said or anything because I don't want to make this any bigger than it is. But this is what I want to say. Now I'm getting excited. You're starting to get me mad. You get a random person that doesn't know him, doesn't know anything about him, takes that 3 seconds, where if you listen to the 3 seconds, and one for being poor, which is not at all, not even close to what he was actually doing when he had a 5-minute conversation on air. But the 3 seconds that they snipped may have sounded like that. He puts it out on Twitter. Now you have hundreds and thousands of people commenting, tweeting at the Reds, at Major League Baseball for this guy's head, to fire Chris Welch, to get rid of. He should not be doing games. He's terrible. Well, one guy. This is how ridiculous it is, and how much these people don't know anything about anything that happened, don't know who the guy is, what he's doing. One guy tweeted at Reds and at ESPN. The game's not on ESPN. It's on Fox Sports. It's on Fox. Which in Fox Sports, ESPN doesn't, or Disney doesn't own Fox Sports. They own the rest of Fox, but not the sports side of it. Okay. So no, don't tweet at ESPN. That just shows me even more that you have no clue what's going on. This guy puts this tweet out, and now hundreds and thousands of people are bashing one of the nicest people. And the guy was actually saying, he wasn't saying any. I'm not getting into what he said because I don't want to start anything more, because there's so much to it. Don't go on Twitter. Don't read what all these trolls got. Trolls. Now I'm talking like one of these idiots. Don't read anything they got to say. It's ridiculous. I'm done with Twitter. I'm off of it. I can understand why people sit there and just bash people all day, because it's easy. I could sit there and have bashed 100 people and tweeted back at 100 people for how stupid they were on their tweets that they weren't even talking about what was actually going on. Done that, but I didn't. You know why? Because I'm a grown man. I have better things to do than find 3 seconds out of a conversation. I would like to put a microphone in front of you for 4 hours a day, and I bet I come up with something, and then I'm going to tweet at you. I'm just going to sit here and go back in all your tweets you've ever tweeted, and I'm going to wait until I find one thing, and then I'm going to tweet that at your employer and try to get you fired. Nah, man, come on. I don't even know you. You don't know. Dude, come on. Oh, I'm so irritated at people on Twitter.
I don't even know where to go with this now. I feel like we can't. You can't go on that rant without actually.
You can relate this to anything that happens on. I don't need to tell you what was said or what wasn't said, because I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to bring it up for Chris Welch, no, because the millions of people that listen to this podcast. You can look it up if you want to look it up. I don't care. All I'm saying is this stuff happens all the time. I hate Twitter. I hate immediate reaction. I don't hate Twitter because I enjoy the there are some good things you can get from it, especially like when the draft is this weekend. I'll be on Twitter a lot paying attention to the NFL draft, because God knows I'm not going to sit and waste all my day watching, waiting for people to come up and talk into a microphone on a podium. I'm not doing that.
Right. Why would you ever sit there and watch people talking to a microphone? That's crazy.
I do it all the time. Now that I say that. Anyway, I just don't have time for it, and I'm not going to do it. But there are so many people, and one thing that somebody said was probably nothing will probably happen. It's just a bunch of loud people on Twitter. No, that's not loud. That's not loud people on Twitter. That's a bunch of quiet little. God, there are so many words that I want to use. It's that sit behind their little keypads and their boards, and they think that, oh my gosh, did you see what that person, that some guy I don't even know posted something about somebody they don't know? Did you see what they said? Oh, I'm going to call him out and tell everyone in the world how terrible he is. Because what? Because that makes you a better person? No. Chances are, if you're out there saying all this crap about somebody and trying to get people fired and trying to do all this stuff to act like you're calling somebody out on Twitter, guess what? You're probably 100 times worse in real life.
Probably. We
Fake. Stupid. Oh,
we see this kind of stuff all the time, and it is a lot of times on Twitter. It's not Twitter's fault. But
I'm not blaming Twitter.
No, I know.
I mean, I kind of blame Twitter because, somebody's got to be to blame, right? So let's be like all the people on Twitter and blame Twitter. That's what we should do. I'm blaming Twitter.
But that's the same thing that you don't like.
Exactly. That was the point.
Right. So it's just a medium for people to voice their opinions, and a lot of times, unfortunately, they are, like we've talked about several times, the immediate overreaction,
Oh my God! Immediate overreaction.
The call out culture right now that we're in, that everybody, and if you want to absorb it a certain way, if you want to read between lines, if you want to make it, sometimes these things are legitimate. Sometimes you have everybody on Twitter attacking somebody for. You have to get the whole story. You have to get
figure it out before you go talking ridiculous and trying.
Tomorrow you're going to hear a lot more.
I don't apologize. There's nothing.
So he's talking about, was it Ozzie Albies?
Yes.
It was Ozzie Albies. So he and Ronald Acuna Jr., two fantastic young players for the Braves.
Incredible baseball players.
Both rookies last year, I think. The Braves signed them to a very team-friendly deal, to extensions this offseason. And a lot of people think they could have made a lot more money.
They could have.
And they could have. But
whether it's the fact that they're friends and they like the organization and all that stuff, that is what it is. What he said was, I don't even want to do it. What he said is that they signed Albee signed for $35 million, and basically when you come from where these guys come from, he said he may not even know the difference between $35 million and $85 million. Not saying he doesn't actually know the difference, saying that the difference between $35 million and $85 million to somebody who grew up with absolutely nothing is basically no different. It's the same thing. It's millions of dollars.
$35 million is worth several lifetimes of living.
Exactly. Says, because they're poor, they can't do math and all this crap. Whatever. Congratulations to the Braves for taking advantage of these two kids. And what about that? Why isn't everybody talking about the Braves taking advantage of these two kids? And well, maybe not. I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it. I
don't feel like
that's why I didn't want to talk about this. That's not the story. This isn't the story. What they signed for and that's not the story. That's not what it's about. It's about idiots on Twitter who make a huge deal about something they don't do any research in. They don't pay attention to what it is. They see something and they go, "Oh my God, that's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life." It's on the internet. You see on the internet. Second off, if it's 3 seconds and you get to the conversation.
Yep.
Maybe the guy, maybe there's a joke in there. Maybe something's going on. Maybe somebody was even talking about. Figure it out. Don't just go crazy for no reason. That I can't stand, and I'm done with it. I'm done with it.
It happens a lot.
People get mad at me because I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe that didn't happen. Maybe it did. Let's did anybody think about this? No. Everybody just has to be the first one. I got to be the first one to say how terrible you are.
Yeah.
How many of these idiots, when something bad happens to somebody, and all these back and apologize to them? How many times does that happen? Never. You know why? Because they're already on to the next stupid thing that they can go off on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ugh,
people do love to lift themselves up by putting others down, and that's not
lifting. You're not a better person for doing that,
right? But people feel that way, and unfortunately, I think this is going to be like it happens a lot of the time. Where I think tomorrow you're going to see people covering this, other media outlets covering this, and you're going to see a story about Reds broadcaster makes racist comment, things like that, where even the media, who should be journalists, who should be getting an entire story and then reporting on it.
There's no journalism anymore. That journalism is this. This is what journalism is now. You got to be the first one to have the story, first one to do the first one. There's no same way with that. Even when you're the first one, there's never an apology afterwards. Like I have to apologize for something that I said that you took out of context.
Mm-hmm.
You took what I said out of context, so I have to apologize to you. But now that everybody realizes how silly you were to think of what I'll never get an apology from you.
Mm-hmm. We live in such a weird world right now, man.
I wish I was a famous person.
Do you?
Oh my God, yes, because I would be famous for all the wrong reasons.
Because you would just talk like a normal person.
Because I would say what every single person, all these people that are on Twitter that say these things, in real life, they are not terrible people. I say the most outrageously crazy things. All is a really good thing that I don't have a microphone in front of. We don't have like a television series following me around all the time, because I would be persecuted as a human being. Whereas we have fun. But you know what? Take a chill pill, brother. I'm just going off. No, this is what happens on Twitter. Somebody sees something like, "Oh my God, did you see him? He laid down and took a nap in the the next person goes, he really laid down and took a nap? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard." Now you got 15,000 people talking about Derek Dietrich doing something he didn't even do. Fire him from the Reds. You should cut him from the team because he stared down a home run. You guys can all run somewhere and go somewhere else.
I'm so proud of you for keeping the language perfect.
Hard.
I mean,
I'm thinking about my buddies at Ohio Mosquito Control, and I don't want to talk about how great their mosquito coverage is, and they're great people, and I don't want to discourage the name of that by saying ridiculous things into this microphone.
That and training personally with Peggy Edwards.
And training
keep
personally.
It classy for them.
Keep it classy. Keep it classy for them, but I can still tell my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and I'm glad you did. I thought it would be interesting to cover that because it just happened tonight. We don't normally get to cover things that night because we do a weekly podcast. Right.
I'm going to tell you this too. This time next week, this will be. Most people will never have even heard of this. That's why I didn't want to bring it up, because I don't think it's going to be a media storm. I don't think it's going to be some. I think it's going to be one idiot who got a few thousand people to say something, and everybody's going to hopefully. The Reds, I know the Reds will. The Reds aren't going to do anything about this because they pay attention to what's actually going on during the game and on the broadcast. Fox Sports probably won't do anything, but maybe he says an apology. I don't even think that happens. I don't think this becomes anything. Find something better to do with your time than badmouth somebody you don't know in something you didn't even see. If the guy who recorded it had something to say, whatever, you got something to say. That little snidbit, that tidbit of a video that he took and then came to their own conclusions. That guy watched the whole video. He was watching the game, obviously. He recorded his TV screen. Is what it is. People have their opinions. Post your opinion. But if you don't know what don't hit you or something you think is wrong, wait 24 hours before you send it.
Don't hit send. Very famous quote from Herm Edwards. I love it.
Don't hit send.
All right, we got to end.
I got to go home.
We've got to end this thing on a calmer note. We got to get
already
you
irritated.
To breathe. We got to get you to breathe. Right, Chris.
All right.
Pacing around the house while you brush your teeth.
Swipe left. I'm in front of the right there in front. Scrub them down. Focus on it and spit it out and get on with the rest of my day.
Okay.
I'm not a pacer.
I'm actually a pacer. I'm an Indiana pacer.
It's probably better that you pace because I don't think I brushed my teeth for 2 minutes. That's just ridiculous. To brush your teeth for 2 minutes, that's way too long. So, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Did you hear what Chris just said? He said it's ridiculous to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. Oh, my gosh. We should have a Twitter war and tell him how ridiculous he is. Sorry. Anyway,
podcast host encourages children to not brush their teeth.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's not what we were supposed to be doing. But it's probably good that you pace because then you're taking a much more a longer amount of time to actually get your teeth clean.
Well, I did switch fully over a while ago to the electric toothbrush, which counts out the 2 minutes for you.
Yeah.
So it just runs for 2 minutes.
So, question for you. Do you always get to the 2 minutes?
Every single time.
Wow. Mine vibrates, stops its vibration every 30 seconds. And I know this because I brushed my teeth for 2 minutes maybe 4 times since I've had it for the last 2 years. If I get to the first 30 seconds, it's pretty... I feel like I did a pretty good job. Look, dude, I'm not going to sit here. I've already brushed that tooth like 3 times. What do I got to go back over it 15 times for? It's clean.
It does feel like longer than you need.
Way longer. Really does. It does. And I use them little weird pick things that got a hook on the end of them when I'm driving. My teeth are fine.
You're flossing and brushing. That's
flossing
all that matters,
and brushing
man.
and flossing
That's
and
good.
brushing and flossing and brushing. Now I'm feeling good. All right, so you can catch us every week, Wednesdays, 10:30 p.m. on Facebook. It is up on all your favorite platforms. after that, next week we'll talk a little. I think we should NFL draft.
Okay.
Who was drafted? Maybe not a lot. Just kind of go over the Bengals maybe a little bit, or if there was any kind of surprises, we'll do that. Obviously, way more NBA playoffs. We will have a definite opponent for the Portland Trailblazers. And from there, we'll get into our MLB Triple Play. And if you've got any ideas on a poll for us, please let us know. We would be able to actually get something moving that route because right now, after the best NBA nicknames of all time is over, which it looks like the Hick from French Lick is going to win, correct?
Yes.
As soon as that is over, we have nothing coming on the backside. So in a tournament-style poll, if we can get something going. Turn your headlights on and have a good... You know what? Before we're done... I'm just kidding. For Adam Schmidt, I'm Chris Witt. Don't forget to turn your headlights on.